And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Good morning, Upstate South Carolina. Good morning, America. Good morning, world. How do you do? Great to be with you on a Thursday AM for 3 hours of sports talk radio excellence. It's great to have you guys back with us. I am Rob. Across from me today, filling in for the great one, Lonzo, out on vacation this week. My man T2, the Timinator, Tim Snow, sitting in with us. What's up, big fella?
Hey, how are you today?
Living the dream, buddy. Living the dream. Not quite as good as the Boston Celtics, who get another win over the Dubs. And ladies and gentlemen, let me lead off the show by saying something I say very infrequently. Good God, was I wrong? My word, was I wrong? I thought Golden State figured Boston out. I thought they got the keys. I thought they put it all together. Nope. That was 100% incorrect. It's the other way around. Boston has figured out the Dubs. The Warriors, ladies and gentlemen, are underdogs in this series now, and not by a small margin. I'm not just talking about in game 4, which they are underdogs in. I'm talking about in the series. They are now roughly 2-1 dogs, depending on who you ask. And part of that has to do with the injury suffered last night by Steph Curry. Al Horford fell on his leg during a scramble for a loose ball. Steph was very clearly in pain the rest of the night. But Boston did to Golden State what I assumed Golden State was going to do to Boston, which is just beat the hell out of them, man. I mean, attack the rim, get them out of position. Draymond fouled out with over 4 minutes remaining in the game. Steph Curry picked up a couple of quick fouls because Boston just kept going at him. And while he's very good, he's not the best defender in the game, and they knew that. So they attacked him. They went after him. They GATA'd him. They made him uncomfortable. And while Steph was shooting the lights out of the gym, as Steph Curry can do, at one point taking a 15-point lead and whittling it down to 2, what it came down to, they just couldn't get it done. Draymond Green last night, the guy that I ultimately said I thought was the key, the guy I said I thought would end up being the reason that Golden State won this series, the guy that I said when it was all said and done was going to be the unnamed yet most deserving MVP of the series, was not. That was just bad. I have no idea. No idea what was going on with Steve Kerr's guys last night. They just were not in the game. At all, they were not in the game. That was unreal. Boston was more physical. Boston was more aggressive. Boston was more consistent. Boston out-hustled Golden State. They outran Golden State. They outshot Golden State. But I challenge you to name me anything last night that Golden State did better than Boston. If there is anything, it's very little. The only thing Golden State had as far as numbers that looked better, they had like a 0.1% better three-point shooting. Golden State was 15 of 40 from behind the arc. Boston was 13 of 35. Other than that, everything else went the direction of the Boston Celtics. The Warriors shot 78 times, made 36, 46.2% from the floor. Boston, 43 of 8 of 9 for 48.3%. From the free throw line, Boston got there 24 times, knocked down 17. Golden State knocked down 13, but they only went 15 times. Boston more aggressive to the rack. Boston earned more fouls. Rebounding-wise, Boston got 15 offensive rebounds. Golden State got 6. Defensive rebounds. Golden State got 25. Boston got 32. 47-31. Boston owned the glass last night. 28 assists for Boston. 22 for Golden State. 7 steals for both teams. 7 blocks for the C's last night. 7 blocks. An absolute block party for the defense in green. But what did I tell you were the 2 most important factors that if one hit, Boston probably wins, and if both hit, Boston definitely wins? Do you remember, if you're keeping track at home in the Rob Brown Show? They were Boston's turnovers had to be under 15. How many did they have last night? 12. The other key was Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both had to score over 22 and be positive in the plus minus. Jason Tatum scored 26 and was plus 13. Jaylen Brown scored 27 and was plus 7. Both hit. What happened? Beantown wins. I told you. Those were the 2 numbers. And again, I expected Golden State to attack either Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, probably Jaylen Brown. I expected them to attack him. I expected them to take him out of the game or at least limit his ability to impact it. I expected them to be uber aggressive against one of those 2. Pick one, single them out, remove them from the offense, and make the other guy do it on his own. Golden State couldn't do it. And by the way, I mentioned Draymond, excuse me. I mentioned Draymond Green. I told you I thought Draymond was going to be the unsung hero of this series. Draymond Green in 35 minutes of heavyweight action last night. 1 of 4 from the floor. 0 for 2 from behind the arc. He had 4 rebounds. He had 3 assists. He had 1 block. I'm bad at numbers here. So T2, help me out on this. Let's do some higher level math. Let's do some college level math. You ready?
I'm ready.
2 points.
Okay.
Plus 1 block. 2 and 1 is how many?
3.
Beautiful. So we're at 3. Let's add his assist to the number.
Okay.
He had 3 assists. Where are we sitting at now?
6.
6. Beautiful. Well done. And now let's add his rebounds. 4 rebounds. So how many are we at now?
10.
Outstanding job. If you include points, blocks, steals, assists, and rebounds all together for Draymond Green, he did 10 good things.
You'd make a great math teacher.
Yeah. If you turned every single Draymond Green plus, right? Steals, rebounds, assists, blocks. If you turned all of those into a point, my guy still was the second lowest scorer of the starting 5 for the Warriors. And the only guy he would have outscored was their center, was their big man. My goodness. I don't get it. Draymond. The hell, my guy. I got to tell you, when Draymond came out of game one and got on the mic in the post-game press conference, got on the mic in his podcast, which I will acknowledge I don't listen to, right? Draymond's podcast effectively comes to me via soundbite every now and then. When Draymond was running lip the last couple of days after the Warriors knocked off the Celtics in game number 2, I thought to myself, man, this guy is a guy that sounds like he is about to be a game changer. This is a guy that sounds like he is about to have a massive impact on this series, yeah? He sounds like he is about to be the dude. And what's he come out and do last night? 2 points, 1 block, 3 assists, 4 rebounds in 35 minutes. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. That's a great stat line for a backup, right? Great stat line for a backup. I don't know how, if you are Draymond Green, you don't look at yourself in the mirror this morning and go, well, that was the absolute biggest pile of steaming turds I've ever laid in my career, because it was terrible. Clay looked good, 25 points, 7 of 17 from the floor, 5 of 13 from deep, 6 of 6 from the stripe, 3 boards, 3 assists. Clay looked good. 31 for Steph Curry, 12 of 22 from the floor, better than 50% from behind the arc, 6 of 11. 4 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals. Look better. Andrew Wiggins, 18 on 7 of 16 from the floor, 1 for 6 from deep, not great. But chipped in, 6 boards? No, sorry, 7 boards, a pair of assists, a pair of steals, a pair of blocks. Draymond was the weak link here. And it was like every time, and by the way, there were a couple of times, especially in the third quarter, the Warriors cut it close. The Warriors started getting it together. I'm sitting on the couch watching that game. Midway through the third, I'm like, all right, this is it. The shots start falling. The Dubs start getting into the passing lanes of the C's, slowing them down a little bit, making Brown and Tatum take over. And then we got to the fourth quarter, and they did that. They did that. Did Boston, did Jalen and Jason. They took over. They forced the issue. Ball game. The series is now 2-1 in favor of the green team. I mean, God, we're going to break down the X's and O's like the actual sets later in the game, later in the show. But my goodness, that was pathetic, Golden State. There's one point, I'm going to say either late third or early fourth quarter, where Golden State just gives the ball away, right? Sends a pass out to the three-point line. Draymond watches it as it goes out of bounds. Boston, in the moment I knew this game was over, Al Horford grabs the ball, runs to the sideline, gets the sign from the ref to play on, and then throws a Brady-esque pass full length of the court, hits, I believe, Jaylen Brown in stride, who yanks it down and hits an uncontested layup. At that moment, I knew the Warriors just were asleep at the wheel. And I'm to the point now where I cannot say, oh, the Dubs are better than that. They had an off night. Because that's 2 now. That's 2 in the last 3 games. At some point, it stops being an off night and starts being a, that's just who you are, my guy. That's just who y'all are now. Let me take a break. We'll talk more about this game. We got, yes, I know we're all over it, but we got more Deshaun Watson story. I'm going to talk about that. And I got a bunch of sound from last night. At one point, Boston fans were chanting very loudly, "Bleep you, Draymond." And, of course, Twitter lost its mind. We'll talk about that coming up on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. It's Prisma, right?
Getting the game on the Rob Brown Show.
Only on The Fan. The Fan. Upstate.
All right, the Rob Brown Show continues on. This is The Fan Upstate. Rob, T2, the Timinator, Tim Snow. Thank you for joining us. Text line is open. Preferred Home Services text line is 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. Texter says, Rob, so glad to see Golden State get the big boot and leg drop last night. Yeah. Boston in that fourth quarter was going hand to ear a la Hulk Hogan and then just dropped the leg on the Warriors, who had zero response. Third quarter, Warriors got a flurry of offense in. Hogan got knocked to the ground and then hulked out. Came up, shaking, staring down the Warriors, brother. They started looking out at the crowd, brother. They put that hand to that ear. They flexed those 24-inch pythons, brother, and they said, Draymond Green, what you gonna do, brother, when Golden State gets run wild on, brother? I screwed up Hulk Hogan's own line, but you got to admit, it's a pretty good Hulk Hogan. It's a pretty good Hulk Hogan.
It's pretty decent.
Brother. What if that was your actual real-life voice? Like, what if that's actually how you talked?
Do you think that's how he really talks, or do you think it's part of his gimmick?
Oh, the ring talk, brother. That's part of the gimmick, brother.
Of course it is.
But when he does talk like this. Like, he definitely has that gravelly voice, brother.
Right.
Brother, listen. When he's saying a bunch of dumb, racist stuff, brother, he says it like this. All right, anyway. I'm going to run some sound for you here. Let me start with clip 3D, if you don't mind, please, T2. So last night during the game, towards the end, Draymond, is Draymond. And Draymond Green is a guy who understands that he is the bad guy. Actually, give me clip 3C. Sorry, T2. Let me get clip 3C. Draymond Green was supposed to be the most important guy for the Warriors last night. I told you that. At least in my mind, he was. He was supposed to be the biggest dude. Not that he was going to have the best stats of the night, but that he was going to be the interrupter. He was going to be the guy that went out there and interrupted what the C's were trying to do, got them out of their flow, etc., etc., etc. Draymond plays mental games before the game and in the game to do that. He wants to get in your head. He wants you thinking about him and not basketball, right? Draymond Green was asked during a press conference, does he set himself up to be the bad guy? And here's what Draymond had to say.
Draymond, do you kind of embrace the opposing fans looking at you as the villain in a way that you feed off of it, in a way that it takes some pressure maybe, or some of that attention off some of your teammates? Is that something that fuels you and can be something that you use?
Yeah, definitely. I embrace it. I enjoy it. I didn't really feed off of it tonight. I don't think I fed off much tonight. But yeah, that's something that I enjoy. They waste a lot of energy talking to me, so it's great. It's great. Looking forward to Friday.
Yeah, that's it, man. He knows it. He knows it. The more you're focused on him, the less you're focused on basketball. And that goes for the crowd as well. Listen, Boston is a tough place to play. That crowd at TD Waterhouse Garden, Boston Garden, whatever. The crowd in that house, they know basketball. They're not dumb. They know basketball. They know exactly when they can have the biggest impact on the game. And if they are focused in on Draymond, if they're giving every bit of energy they have into hating on Draymond, what they're not doing is pouring that into the heads of the Steph Currys and Klay Thompsons of the world. Draymond knows what he's doing, and it worked. Minus the part where Boston kicked Golden State's ass. Other than that, it worked. towards the end of the game, the C's fans wearing green were chanting, bleep you, Draymond, clap, 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 bleep you, Draymond. And it was freaking loud, dude. Like, it was loud. The bleep you, Draymond was so loud that the guys on play-by-play were forced to acknowledge it. At one point, for those of you that were paying very close attention, you will have noticed that the bleep you, Draymond chants were so loud that at one point, the guy on the soundboard, rest easy tonight, my friend, you worked hard last night. The guy on the audio board, whenever they would hit the bleep and bleep you, Draymond, would bring the slider down and then pot it back up, right?
Yeah.
They bring it down. So bleep you, Draymond. You, Draymond. You, Draymond. Like, he was working that sound slider. T2 knows what I'm talking about.
100%, yes.
Working that slider. Welp, here was the reaction. 3B, if you don't mind, T2. I'm going to get 3B. Here was the reaction from Steve Kerr, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry about Boston dropping the bleep you Draymond chants loudly in the game. Here is Steve Kerr, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry.
Your thoughts on the crowd's response to him all night?
On the crowd's response to Draymond? Classy. Very classy.
It was not a factor. We played in front of rude people before, dropping F-bombs with children in the crowd. Real classy. Good job, Boston.
Par for the course. Every arena you kind of get a little something. It's been like that the whole playoffs, and every run we've made over the course, that's he expects it. So no different tonight.
All of them. Yeah. Classy guys. Classy. Classy. Here's the thing. You have to recognize that they are not dropping FU chants on every player on the team. They did it on the guy who was effectively inviting them, right? You have to understand that when you are a troll and you engage in troll activities, T2, you're a video game guy.
Yes, I am.
Don't hurt yourself, buddy. It's not that big of a deal. You're a video game guy. You've played with video game trolls before, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like guys that go in and grief the game just for the entertainment value, right? Like they screw up the game just because they find it funny. What happens when somebody finally kills one of those trolls in a game?
Oh my God, they freak out.
They unleash, right?
Like those videos that you see on YouTube of people like breaking their screens. Those are those guys.
Yeah. And when you kill one of those dudes in like Call of Duty,
yeah,
you let them hear about it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I am talking mashing that crouch button and dropping the hips over the face of their character to let them know they got pwned, bro.
Yep, I do it every time.
Of course.
Every time.
When you are a troll, you ask for a heated response when somebody gets the better of you. And that's what Draymond did, right? He called for that. Now, is that level of chant appropriate? I'm going to tell you, I don't care. It doesn't bother me, right? It doesn't bother me. Well, there were kids in the attendance. It was 9:45 at night. That's not even true. It was actually closer to 11 at night because that was late in the fourth quarter, and that game started at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. And that's Boston. That's East Coast time. They started that game at 9 p.m. on the East Coast in Boston. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all. Rob Brown tends to drop the occasional swear word away from the radio. Okay? I don't hide it. I don't hide it. It is what it is.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Me too.
I drop the occasional swear word away from the radio. I will also tell you that if I am out in public, like if I'm having lunch at Applebee's, I'm not dropping swear bombs around your kids, all right? I got respect. But I'm also going to tell you that if you have your kid at a basketball game at 11:45 at night where there is beer being sold in mass quantities, yeah, they're going to hear some F-bombs, all right? They're going to hear some bad words.
As a father, it really doesn't bother me when people cuss around my kids.
Yeah.
Only because, like, they're going to hear it anyway.
Yeah.
And they've already heard it from me, so.
Yeah, and if you're a good dad,
they're just smart enough to know.
if you're doing it right, you take it one of two directions. You either go, hey, son, those people are saying something they should not be saying. We don't say that, right? You're going to hear it, but we don't say that. Or I have people in my life whose parents let them cuss around the house. They're like, we don't say it in public. You want to drop an F-bomb at the house when you stub your toe? I don't care. I don't care if you cuss.
I mean, I don't do that. I don't let them cuss, but they just know that, swear words are adult words.
Yeah. And by the way, as this texter pointed out, it was in Boston. These kids were probably leading the chant, all right?
Yeah.
Those Boston kids were probably the first ones. They're like, Dad, 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 Dad. What if we tell Draymond to go physically handle himself? What do you think about that? Dad was like, that's my kid. Yeah, Boston. I love it. I love it, Texter.
See, that was gonna be my point. Is that if they're gonna hear it, or they're gonna say it, or they're already saying it anyway.
Yep. Let me get one more clip in here. Let me get clip 3D before we take a break.
Just what was your reaction to the crowd's chants that were directed?
Let me get 3. Yeah, that's.
Oh, sorry.
Nope, you're all good. Let me get 3D. This is Draymond Green, the only one who had a regular response to the chants. Here's Draymond.
Just what was your reaction to the crowd's chants that were directed to you throughout the game?
No, they're just talking. Not really my job to react to them. So they did what I expected.
Yeah, Draymond knows it. Draymond knows it. If you were a troll and you are going to troll, then when the troll gets dropped, you're going to hear about it. And Draymond last night was griefing, was camping, got popped at the spawn, and the bad guys started dropping the B button crouch on his head. And he knows it. He knows it. So he went to the presser and went, yeah, that's I'm a troll. That's what I expected, right? Because the alternative is going to be true as well. If they come out and win game 4 and Draymond turns it around and has it a big game, he is going to be right there. All of you Boston fans, that's what you can do with it right there, right? He knows it. That's the game, my guy. You'll notice they weren't saying bleep Steph Curry or bleep Klay Thompson or bleep Jordan Poole. Who, by the way, what the hell happened to Jordan Poole? They weren't saying any of that. They said it to the guy who gives them crap, right? That's smack talk in basketball. That's how the game gets played. You either shut your mouth and don't talk smack and nobody says bleep you, or the opposite. You run your mouth, but you recognize when you get dunked on, you're going to hear it back. That's the game. And again, I'm not going to cuss in front of your kids when the sun's up. But if you bring your kid to an NBA game at 11:45 at night, yeah, they're going to hear some stuff, my guy. You're going to hear some stuff. No, Clay, I love you, dog, but no, that ain't it. One segment left to clean up hour number 1. That's next on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Okay, do you need those audio clips anymore?
Yeah, I would just leave them up because, I'm going to go back to those later in the show. And the golf ones I'm going to go to as well. Trey said, whenever I'm impersonating Hulk Hogan, I'll say, well, you know something, dude. Let me tell you something, brother. I'll nerd out with you for just a minute. For those of you on the stream who come behind the scenes. Hey, Colin, look, my guy Colin popping in. What's up, big fella? Good to see you, man. Welcome to the stream, buddy. This is what I do. I play Dungeons and Dragons because I'm a gigantic nerd, right? So I play D&D, and the character that I'm playing right now is at the risk of my girlfriend showing on the stream, realizing how much of a nerd I am and dumping me. The character I am playing right now is effectively a berserker barbarian, right? He's just a big except for I needed a backstory. So my dude is he is a professional wrestler, right? Like he's a professional wrestler who became a journeying adventure. Anyway, his name is Andre Ravage the Warrior, which is an amalgamation of the names. Thank you, buddy. Which is an amalgamation of the names of Andre the Giant, Ric Flair, Randy Savage, and who am I forgetting? Macho Man, Ric Flair. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. But when I started this character, I decided, brother, that he was going to talk like Hulk Hogan, brother. This is how Andre Ravage the Warrior talks, brother. Which is awesome. Ultimate Warrior. Thank you, Colin. You're a legend. You're an absolute legend. That's who it was. The Warrior, literally in the name. Anyway, I decided he was going to talk like Hulk Hogan, brother. Which was really fun when we started D&D. And then you realize that you have to talk like this for 4 hours, brother. And let me tell you something, brother. After 4 hours of talking like this, brother, it's not great for a guy who has to wake up and do radio the next day, brother.
I've never played D&D. I want to, though.
That's a blast.
It sounds really fun.
We'll get a radio station game going because I know Lonzo wants to play, Chris wants to play, and I just started DMing, so I'll be happy to put a game together.
Yeah, dude, let me know because I want to do it.
Yeah, I'll put a game together for us here at the station. We may even we'll stream it.
That'd be fun.
But anyway, so then what I decided to spice up the character was my character now has kayfabe too, right? So like, if we're out in the field, brother, he talks like this. But if it's just my party, I'm like, yeah, guys, yeah, we should fight those guys tonight, guys. Like he turns.
No, that's not true. He never talks that quietly ever.
Just for this character, because it's to give myself a break. But yeah, so my character in game literally has kayfabe now. Like if he's out in public, he puts on his character. But when he goes behind the scene, he hates fighting. He talks quietly. Like it's so ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I really wanted to play that game. I've never gotten to play it.
Yeah, I'll put a game together for us.
My mom was like psycho about that kind of stuff when I was little.
We'll do like you, Lonzo, Chris. I'm trying to think. There's one other person who plays here. Happy would play.
Oh yeah, he plays. Yeah.
And then maybe we'll do something to get one listener involved. We'll let one listener play with us.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
That would be really cool. Actually.
Lad, welcome in, buddy. Good to have you, pal. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming by. Steven says Adam Sandler Hustle is all caps really good. Keegan told me that yesterday. Well, so Keegan may stop by later, but Keegan told me that Hustle is phenomenal. I remember at one point, I don't remember what the movie was for, but Adam Sandler said that he felt disrespected because he did not get nominated for a, what's the movie one? For an Oscar. And he was like, he felt slighted that one of his movies, I don't know which one, didn't get nominated for an Oscar. And he's like, I'm going to start making like genuinely good movies. And from what I understand, he has. What was the one? Uncut Gems. I still have not seen Uncut Gems, but the people I've talked to that have seen Uncut Gems have said it is really, really good. And this movie where I believe Adam Sandler is like, he's a former basketball player who turns scout to try to like get a kid an opportunity or something. But Keegan said yesterday that it was really good as well. So I'm going to watch it. I will tell you this. I did not watch Miss Marvel or Obi-Wan yesterday, but for good reason.
I didn't get a chance to watch Obi-Wan. I wanted to, but just didn't.
I wanted to. So I got done with work at like 6. I had a couple of errands I had to run while the girlfriend was out of town, and then I watched the basketball game, which didn't start till 9. And my intention was I'll watch them both after the game because I stay up till like 2. Well, I got done with basketball. I turned on the TV. I started flipping channels, and PBS was playing an uncut live Prince and the Revolution Purple Rain Tour concert. I never saw Prince. I've never seen a Prince concert, like even video footage of one.
Really?
So they had
they got all kinds of them, man.
They had the entire uncut Purple Rain concert experience. And you know, if you've never watched them, PBS hooks you because they do like 4, 5, 6 songs. They do like a 32-minute uninterrupted piece of the concert, but then they do like 12 minutes of fundraising, right? Where they're like, we need you to send us money and blah, blah, blah. And anytime I sit there and I watch one of those shows, I'll go donate like $5, $10, whatever. Because I'm like, I got something out of this, right? I would sit there through like 12 minutes of these two very, very nice ladies making as many lame 80s jokes as they can make, right? Because Purple Rain was what, 85, 86?
80, yeah,
making
80s.
as many bad 80s jokes as they could. But I'm like, guys, this isn't like traditional 80s stuff. This isn't like hair glam, like totally rad, dude. Like, this is Prince, man. This is elevated. This is above that. And that's from a guy who plays in an 80s hair band cover band, right?
Oh, y'all do 80s hairband stuff?
We do almost exclusively 80s.
Oh, dude. I'm going to come watch you guys one night.
You're going to come down to Destin, Florida and watch the show. I'm for it.
Wait, you drive all the way to Florida to do shows?
Sure do.
I mean, I might.
Yeah, my man. Anyway, so, yeah, I sat there and I watched 2 hours and 15 minutes of Prince and the Revolution last night. All right, heading towards the end of the first hour of the show here on the Rob Brown Show. Let me get clip number 2, if you don't mind. We'll switch gears for just a second. We'll come back to the NBA later on in the radio broadcast, but let me get clip 2 here.
We had any just like we would on normal conversations within the issues that we had. We all had a lot of dialogue. Probably since I've been here, but I've also been in the ACC meetings for all those years when I was a head coach. One of the best dialogues as far as a group of coaches with everyone speaking and having opinions that I've been around, one of the best ones we had because everybody knows the pressing issues. But we had dialogue. If he had an opinion, we had an opinion. I mean, we all discussed things very professionally in the right way.
Did you clear the air though with him? Did you speak to him directly about what you accused him of?
We spoke very in the beginning, and what he accused us of. Both things. We said it's over with. We're done talking about it and what happens, and we're moving on to the future, what goes on, and try to fix the problems of what we have in college football. We're a lot more pressing needs than our arguments.
So you said that directly. We're done. This is over. We're moving on.
Yeah, we're moving on to do what we got. I have no problem.
Jimbo, with that says, with 2 weeks have gone by, do you look back, do you regret anything you said?
No, I mean, things are said, and what he says, what we say. I mean, it moves on. We're moving on to the next thing.
Jimbo, you seem to imply that you were aware of malfeasance within Nick's program. Do you have any evidence?
No, I just made comments, and we're moving on to the next thing.
That was Jimbo Fisher, head coach of the Aggies of Texas A&M. He was at the SEC spring meetings down in my old stomping grounds of Destin, Florida. And, of course, we had the fight that he had with Nick Saban. Now, we won't go back into all of that. Suffice it to say, I do not think that Nick Saban said anything inappropriate. I think that Jimbo Fisher was like, let me go ahead and distract a little bit here, right? Everybody's talking about us and NIL. Let me distract a little bit by accusing Nick Saban of saying that we broke laws when Nick Saban didn't do that. All Nick Saban said is they bought their players, which technically speaking, I can see how that argument makes sense, right? So Jimbo came out and immediately, as soon as those meetings were done down in Destin, Jimbo's like, yeah, we're good. We're good. What do you want? We're good. We're good. We talked it out. We're good. Great conversation amongst the coaches. We're good. Everything's great. Everything's good. Everything's good. Everything's great. Everything's good. Guys, I told you when this happened. It went from my favorite escalation of a dumb story in college football to just another dumb story in college football, right? It went from me that Thursday that Jimbo unloaded on Nick in that press conference. It went from me not being able to find that audio fast enough to get it on the air, right? Well, he's a narcissist. Go ask him. He's God. He's God. Go ask him. I couldn't find the audio fast enough to play it on the air. I played like 3 segments of Jimbo's sound bites from that press conference because it was the funniest damn thing I've ever heard. But I came in here the next day. I came on the air and I said, guys, the story's not going anywhere. This thing's overblown. It's not going anywhere. There's nothing to this, right? Because I thought about what Saban said. He didn't accuse anybody of lying, cheating, stealing, or breaking any laws. He just said A&M bought their players. And if it is to be believed, it certainly looks like they did. This isn't going anywhere. I said they're going to go to the meetings. Everybody is going to be waiting for the epic showdown where Jimbo and Nick are going to be standing on the third tee box at the Sandestin Golf and Beach Resort with their pitching wedges crossed like Vader and Obi-Wan, ready to do battle. When Saban's like, I see you've become stronger. And Jimbo's like, I'm not afraid of you! But they didn't do that. Why? Because it was a dumb story. Because it was a dumb story, right? Because it was a dumb story. Saban didn't accuse him of cheating. He just said they bought the players. Jimbo over. Here's the thing that happens. Tim, you're married.
Yes.
Is your wife listening to the show right now?
No.
Is she going to hear about anything you say on the air?
Probably not.
Super duper. Well, then let's address this. One of the most dangerous questions that a woman can ever ask a man is what, Tim 2? Does this make me look fat? Right?
Yes. That's one of them. Yes, definitely.
When a woman asks a man, does this make me look fat? The part of the lizard brain, the monkey brain, right? The Neanderthal brain, the monkey brain, the ape brain that is still back there, the little primitive part that hasn't evolved with the rest of us goes, danger, danger, danger.
Yep.
Right? And the reason why is because if I asked Tim, does this shirt make me look fat? And Tim goes, it's not the shirt, dude. You're just fat. My response would go, yeah, you're right. Right?
Yeah.
But we all know that if a woman loves you and you go, yes, babe, makes you look fat.
Yeah, you're done for.
The response
You're
to
done
that-
for at that point.
Right. Now, ladies, you know I love you. You know you always go to the front of the line here on the Rob Brown Show. But here's the thing. You are going to go, not me, Rob. Not me, Rob. I wouldn't do that, Rob. I would just appreciate that they're being honest with me, which is what every woman says.
Yeah.
And then none of you do it.
Yeah.
None of you do it when I'm in a relationship with you. Not a one of you.
I've even had ex-girlfriends sit there and say to me, well, I just want you to be honest with me and tell me if I look fat.
Right. Now, when we say, now here's the thing. I told Zoe on the air this the other day. I have developed the best answer that I can to that, which is, babe, I love you. It's not your best look. Right? Because that blames it on the clothes.
See, that's not my answer.
You just go, yes?
No, I just, if she asks
Crawl
me,
under the
does
crouch?
this make me look fat, baby? You look beautiful.
That's fine. But here's the thing. This is the other part. They're going to go great. You're going to go out. They're going to take pictures. Their friends are going to post a picture on social media, and they're going to look bad. And then what do? Is it their fault? No, it's yours because you didn't tell them, right? So my answer is it's not your best look. And there's a reason that I've had to come
but
up
at
with.
that point, you just double down. Well, they're all stupid. Only what I think matters.
So that's the point that I go, it's not your best look, and I blame it on the clothes. But the reason I have developed that answer over the years is because some people hear something and they take it personally when it's 100% not meant to be, right? If I go, yes, I love you, but that dress isn't doing you any favors, that blouse isn't doing you any favors. A lot of women, I'm not saying all women, but a lot of women.
But that's
I've
not
dated,
necessarily answering the question, though.
No, I understand. I'm just saying in general, if you say anything but no, you look great, right? A lot of women interpret that as, oh, you're saying I look fat. Not I look bad in this outfit, but I look fat. Like I personally look fat.
And I've done that before too, where it's just like, this is just not my favorite shirt that you're wearing. Yeah.
But when somebody takes it as, oh, you're saying because it escalates from, do I look fat in this dress to, oh, you think I'm fat. You think I'm unattractive. You don't find me attractive anymore. And then often you'll get the conversation the next day of, I'm really sorry I overreacted, right? I caused a fight that didn't need to happen. That's exactly what happened with Jimbo and Nick. Jimbo overreacted because Nick said, not your best look. And Jimbo overreacted. And the next day, Jimbo was like, it needed to be a fight. And everybody got all ready for it. Jimbo was like, no, it doesn't need to be a fight. And they talked. Because of course they did. Even though Jimbo said, yeah, we're not talking anymore. Okay, Jimbo. Okay. That story was a dud, wasn't it? 2 hours left. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
New to the Upstate. Hey, it's DA. Wake up with a morning jolt of in-depth sports analysis and discussion every weekday at 6 on the DA Show. Only on the Fan Upstate.
Hey, before you...
Yeah.
Oh.
Jim Rome in the jungle.
Let me tell you something that I am not here
is it
for
doing
today.
that?
Joker, slander.
keeps on going to 2.
I am not interested in
we're on
any
stream
of that. You know, the reigning NBA MVP.
Hang on, Stern. We got
His
production
teammates are
stuff to do.
dropping left
Don't
and
go
right.
anywhere.
He's out
It'll be
there
funny when we come
dropping
back.
Okay.
And we're back, kids. All right, let's see here. Saban is a clown. He's a winning clown, but still a clown. Nice. Keegan said, I see Uncut Jim's comment, so I'm assuming this combo about hustle. Yeah, who was it? Steven said earlier that hustle was really, really good. And I was telling him that you said that, would you put it on Instagram, that it was good too. Super random, but why is Brittany Griner still being in jail? Such a non-story. Is it because she's in WNBA? Because it's Russia? If it was LeBron, we wouldn't hear the end of it. Brittany Griner is not a household name, right? Like, if you're a basketball fan, you know Brittany Griner. But there's two things. Number one, obviously Brittany Griner has some controversy from her past that people still connect to her name. And so there's a lot of people who just aren't fans. and don't care. But the other aspect is exactly right. She's a WNBA player, right? If it was a I don't know, a low-level soccer, if it was even an MLS player, right? Like, I don't know that if it was an American MLS player, it would get, I mean, it might get a tick more coverage, but I don't know. And then, yeah, the other aspect of it is that's obviously a very hot situation, so I don't think people like to voice on it.
Hey, I did it almost perfectly. Timed it out to the wrong show. Sports radio.
Texter says Anderson County will be featured on Cops. Embarrassing yet proud moment. There is another show that came on for a while that was New Age Cops. Live PD, right? You ever seen Live PD?
I've seen that.
All right, Live PD came on, and Live PD did a season where they were in Santa Rosa County, Florida, which is the next county over from Okaloosa, where I grew up. And a real quick story that I don't know if I'm proud of or not, but my band was referenced indirectly on that show, right? We were, and I didn't know it till I just happened to randomly see it, because I used to, like, Live PD would run at like 1 a.m. on whatever channel it was on.
I think it was on Spike.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think it was on
you're
Spike,
right.
yeah.
So Live PD used to run, and anyway, I was watching it late at night one night because it's great mindless television, right?
It really is.
So I'm watching it one night, and they're like, let's go live to Santa Rosa County, where Deputy so-and-so of the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Department has pulled over a suspected DUI. And I'm like, all right. And
then it turns out that they're on like meth or something crazy.
No.
Like
It was a genuine deal. It was a guy in a truck, and he was getting pulled off of Highway 98 before he turned on to the road that takes you. It turns off at 98 on the 87 up to I-10. I know it very well because when we play, there's a bar called Juana's on the beach in Navarre, which is in Santa Rosa County, that we play very frequently. And so I'm like, oh, damn, that's 98-87. I know exactly where this guy is, right? And they pull him out of the truck, and they're talking to him. And they're like, sir, have you had some drinks? And he's like, yeah, officer, I'm not going to lie to you. I've had a couple of beers. The guy's like, well, where are you coming from? And he's like, I was over on Navarre Beach. I was just at a bar watching a band play. And they're like, all right. And they talked to the dude for a little while. And as I'm watching this, because this traffic stop goes on for like 3 or 4 minutes. And while I'm watching it, listening to the conversation, I'm like, damn, that guy looks familiar. But it's Santa Rosa County, right? It's the next county over. It's a county I've spent a lot of time in. I'm like, you know, I've probably seen this. Oh, True TV. That was it. It was True TV.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I've probably just seen that guy at the Walmart or something, right? Probably seen him at a gas station, whatever. Who knows? It's small town USA. Everybody has seen everybody 100 times. You know, you could bring me any random member of the Fort Walton Beach community, and if I didn't know him by name, I knew him through somebody. Anyway, I'm like, damn, this guy looks familiar. And as I watch him more and more, like, I can't place this guy. And then I realize, I'm like, I've seen this guy at shows before. right? My band plays at this little bar called Juana's. It's on the beach, a little tiki bar kind of setup. I'm like, I think I've seen that guy there. And then I'm like, wait a minute, this is an old show, right? So I go back, I go to the TV guide, I look up the date that this show was filmed, right? The date it went live. And it's, June 10th of 2017 or whatever time the show was here. I'm like, all right. And I go look at my band schedule, and it was a night we played at that bar. And that's where I recognize the guy from, right? Like, that guy was hanging out, watching my band play, tossing back a few brewskis, a few too many brewskis, got in his car and left, and then got pulled over on national television.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works. Something similar happened to me too, because I used to DJ out in Spartanburg.
Yeah.
And I'm like that with some of the people in Spartanburg. Like, I could walk through Spartanburg and a lot of people know who I am. But anyways,
then you got somebody hammered at a wedding and saw him
oh
on
no,
national
it's
TV.
it's actually worse than that. Do you remember the serial killer guy that was in Duncan? He was actually a Moor, I believe. But he used to hang out at the bar, one of the bars he used to DJ at. Yeah.
Wait. All right, hang on.
I forget his name though. What was his name?
So you used to throw raves for a serial killer? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I didn't know he was a serial killer, but I didn't know him that well. But I knew who he was when he got busted. I was like, oh no,
seriously?
Yeah.
So you used to go drop needles at a local watering hole where a now known serial killer.
Wait a minute. What do you mean drop needles? What does that even mean?
Okay. Tim, a long time
now, see,
ago.
we say spinning or ones and twos.
Well, 100 years ago, DJs actually played records, and you had to set a needle down.
I actually DJ'd with one of those before. It's actually really fun.
An album? But stop! You're not getting me away from the fact that you were just chilling with a serial killer for a hot minute. Was this like a weekend thing? Like Friday nights, I'm heading down to the watering hole with Stabby McStabberson? What was happening here?
Yeah, no, I mean, like he would hang out at the bar, he would drink, hang out with the people there.
Yeah, and then go murder them.
Well, I don't think he was doing it then. It was later on because we didn't see him for like a really long time, and we saw him on the news.
Because he was in the woods with all the bodies.
Yeah, so I don't think he was doing it then, but yeah, it was pretty scary.
Texter says Todd Colehep.
Yep, that's
Todd
it.
Colehep.
That was it.
Let's see here. Todd Colehep, an American serial killer, sex offender, and mass murderer, convicted of murdering 7 people in South Carolina, was born March 7th, 1971 in Florida, because of course he would, and was raised in South Carolina and Georgia.
I believe he locked girls in a like bunker or something, and like, yeah. I don't know if I could say that on the air.
had a conviction for kidnapping and rape in 1986. On November 6, 2003, a customer found 4 people shot dead inside a Superbike Motorsports, a motorcycle shop in Chesney. The victims were identified as the owner, service manager, mechanic, and bookkeeper, one of whom was the mother of the owner of the store. Colehep would confess to those killings in 2016. He killed another guy, in August 2016, Kayla Brown and her boyfriend, Charles Carver, went missing after they went to remove brush from one of Colehep's properties. Carver was later found dead of multiple gunshots on the property. Interest in the disappearance of Brown and Carver increased as a result of posts on Facebook. On November 3rd, Brown was found by authorities chained to the wall inside a metal storage container on the property. Investigators tracked her down after tracing the couple's last known cell phone signals, after which they heard banging noises coming from inside of the container. A search of the property recovered Carver's vehicle, which was found in a ravine covered in brush. Brown stated to police after a rescue that Colehep shot the guy because he was, quote, mad at her, and, quote, he assaulted her multiple times. Good. What the hell, man?
Right? I know, the guy was
this
like
dude was
crazy.
Just hanging in the bar with you.
Yeah, he went to that. But this was like earlier. I think this was like around 2008, 2007 when he was hanging out there. So like I don't know.
So this may be before the last round, but after the first ones. Let's see. November 25th, 2016, police in Greer announced they named Cole Epp as a person of interest in an unsolved 2003 bank robbery and triple homicide. The crime was separated from the Chesney shootings by 6 months. However, as of May 16, 2018, no definitive link between he and the killings was established, and Cole Epp has denied involvement in the case. In December 2017, he wrote to the Spartanburg Herald Journal claiming that he had more victims who have not been discovered. Well, that's not horrifying at all.
Right?
Not in the least.
Well, let's be clear here. I did not hang out with him, and I did not know him that well, but I knew who he was when I saw him on the news. I was like, oh no.
A couple of years back, I went on a first date with a young lady who was very, very sweet, but she was like really guarded, right? Now, like, I'm not, like, not that any of you care. Like, first date wise, I'm not like trying to like physically touch, right? Like, this is a talk, get to know you, whatever. But she was very, very guarded. And so we went on, I think, like 2 more dates before it fizzled out. But like on the second or third date, I asked her about it. I'm like, listen, I'm 100% fine with it, right? But like, you seem very like guarded and whatever. And I'm like, am I making you uncomfortable? Because if I am, I'll apologize for it. And she's like, no, it's not you. It's something else. And I'm like, okay, well, like, am I triggering something? Like, whatever. And she's like, no, it has nothing to do with you. She's like, I don't really tell this story often.
It's not me, it's you.
Yeah. No. It was her. She said, I don't tell this story often. She goes, but I went on like 2 or 3 dates with a guy a couple of years ago who turned out to be a serial killer. I'm like, pardon me? What now? She's like, yeah. She's like, I met him at a bar one night. He was very, very nice. We went on like 2 or 3 dates. And I put a picture up on Facebook of me and him on like our second or third date. She's like, we went axe throwing, right? I know. You know where this is going already. She's like, we went axe throwing. I put a picture of it up on Facebook. And then I got like 5 or 6 messages from people that were like, girl, run.
Run.
Like,
get away from that.
And they started telling me that this guy had, I guess, like he had initially been tried for a murder, but he got off the hook on a technicality. She's like, so I like left town, right? Like locked my apartment, left town, and then called him, was like, hey, like it's been like not letting him know, hey, I'm pretty sure you murdered a lady one time, but you know, listen, you're a nice guy. I'm just not feeling chemistry. I
mean, how scary must that be?
Yeah.
Like,
right?
for real.
So she's like, I'm not feeling it. The chemistry's just not there. She's like, here's the thing. The guy was like super nice about it. He's like, I understand. I appreciate the opportunity. Good luck to you, whatever. Right? Like super fine with it. And then she's like, and then like 3 months later, he got arrested for murdering multiple people, including one with an axe.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that must be so scary.
She's
dude.
like, so you have to understand that, yeah, I'm a wee bit guarded because I went on 3 dates and really liked a serial killer. She's like, had I not been like guarded and reserved, she's like, third date, like halfway through the third date, I was like, I think I'm gonna go home with this guy, right? Like, I think I'm gonna go home with this guy. I think he's got a shot. I think he might get the old horizontal bop, the old unskinny bop, right? She's like, had I gone home with that guy, I might be dead right now.
Yeah.
She's like, so please forgive me if I'm a little gun shy. I'm like, that's a terrible use of words.
Well,
all right, that's a joke, but you get the point.
At least you felt comfortable enough to tell you that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Here's what my dumbass thought. Immediately.
Run.
Immediately. No. Quite the opposite. Immediately, my first thought was, well, she has a taste in men that leads her to date serial killers, and now she's on a date with me. What does that say about me? She walked right through a serial killer, was about to go home with a serial killer.
Yeah.
And then was like, no, not that guy. How about Rob? So little reevaluation purposes there. All right.
All right.
Texter says
that's scary though.
Texter says, check please. Yeah, correct.
Check please.
Texter says, can we get a full-time podcast with story like these? Listen, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I could do a Rob Brown's Dating Adventures podcast.
I mean, I'm down for this.
And it would be downloaded it would get more downloads than the radio show podcast that I do, right? Like I do this 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and put all 3 hours up. And a podcast about my failures in dating would without a doubt get more downloads. However, I don't know that I will ever top 3 dates and almost slept with a serial killer before my friends were like, yeah, he murders people. Maybe don't do that. Maybe not. I can't touch that story, dude. I can't touch that story. Texter says, had a buddy that lived in Navarre. I've been to Juana's. That's the tiki bar of tiki bars. Oh, it's the best bar in America. Best bar in America. Juana's Pagoda in Navarre, Florida.
Where is Navarre, Florida?
Navarre is halfway between Destin and Pensacola in the Florida Panhandle.
All right.
So, like, when you leave Destin, you pass effectively 3 small towns. The first is Fort Walton Beach, where I grew up. That's pretty much next door to Destin. Then you pass Navarre. Then you pass Gulf Breeze, which is pretty much right next to Pensacola.
Okay.
I hate to say this on the radio because it's the best little kept secret in Florida, but if you guys have ever wanted a beach vacation, like if you've ever seen the beaches of Destin with the sugar white sand and the emerald green waters, but you don't want to be around people, go to Navarre Beach.
Locals only, man.
Yeah, Navarre Beach is it's got a bunch of hotels and condos, but it's pretty much a little well kept secret. It's got the exact same beaches of Destin. Whatever you see on like tourist TV, the white sands and emerald green water. The beaches of Navarre are they're connected. You can walk on the beach from Destin to Navarre for the most part. Same beaches, but nobody ever goes there. And the best bar in America is there. Texter says, my brother-in-law is married to the sister of the guy that went to federal prison for buying guns for Cole Hep. Great stuff for the family reunion.
Right?
Oh, you know, that one time my husband went to jail for selling guns to a convicted murderer. NBD, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Fan says, check, please. Yeah. Almost went home with a serial killer. Whew. Take a break. Back after this, and we'll talk actual sports next on The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Be right back. Stream doing it live. Hang on.
DJ what?
Skrilla.
Skrilla. All right.
Come
DJ.
down to Villafella on the 17th and see some record spinning in first person.
Yeah,
You did
man.
what you said.
I will be down with that 100%. What's your setup?
Oh gosh, Trey said that guy had that woman captive 5 minutes from his house.
Yeah, it was 5 minutes from mine too. I lived in Poplar Knoll at the time. It was like 5 minutes from there.
All right, let's see. How many serial killers are on the loose today? According to worldatlas.com, there is no reliable estimate for how many serial killers are on the loose today. Still, authorities and various other sources inform us that there are as many as 50 serial killers operating today.
50 in the upstate?
No, in the United States. Right? I'm never going outside again.
Ooh. Dude, I want those glasses. You see those glasses that guy has? I saw them on TV yesterday.
John Lennon glasses.
Yeah, man. Those probably are like $10,000 glasses. Oh, you got the techniques. That's awesome. I've never spun on techniques before. I want to. Okay, I've used Tractor before. You use Tractor or Serato, the software? I've used them all, really. Record Box, Serato, Tractor, Virtual DJ, all of them. I have two CDJ Nexus 900s. Yeah, dude. I gotta watch Miss Marvel. I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to probably either tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, I'm watching it tonight.
I've been trying to get through Stranger Things because we're supposed to review that kind of stuff on Saturday.
Yeah.
But I know we're probably going to review those too, so I need to watch those. I'm on season 2 of Stranger Things, almost to season 3.
Yeah, like I said, I was gonna watch it. I was gonna watch Ms. Marvel and the latest episode of Obi-Wan last night. But then a live Prince and the Revolution concert came on, and as an audio file, I was like, nope, Prince it is. I sat on my couch until like 12:30 this morning watching Prince, and it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. That guy.
Did you watch the Beatles documentary?
I haven't yet.
Oh my
I
God!
haven't yet.
One of those, dude, that it almost brought me to tears.
I had a buddy of mine who said, if you watch it, you will stop making jokes about Yoko Ono breaking up the band because it was so much more than that. And it's like, yeah, I know, but also it was her.
I think she had something to do with it, but it wasn't really like the way that everybody made it.
Yeah.
I use Tractor for tailgates and wedding 1200s for my personal records. Had my set sign. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm using the two CDJs and just a regular mixer, and I usually use like Serato for my libraries. For weddings, though, I use only if I'm doing video. I'll use virtual DJ just because it's easier to run the video through virtual DJ. But we're coming back.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. Grab me clip number 5, if you don't mind, please, here, T2. This is Mina Kimes, a soundbite that started going viral yesterday. Mina, of course, has, over the last couple of years, I would say during the pandemic, Mina and a couple of others really seized a big opportunity, right? Like we've talked about, Mark Ryan and I have both referenced that no matter what happens to us in the future, the fact that we were able to not just survive, but thrive during a 8-month period where there were no sports. I got news for you. Sports talk radio, when there's no sports, kind of a pain in the rear. All right. We got through it. And I think we both came out better for it. There were a handful of personalities that completely flopped during the pandemic. And then there were a handful of personalities that thrived during the pandemic. Katie Nolan became big. Dan Le Batard became big. And Mina Kimes was one of the ones who became big. She has since become, to me, one of the better voices talking NFL football in the last couple of years. Because she is a fan, right? One of the things that I appreciate in personalities, and it's one of the reasons I do it, I appreciate people who are just themselves when they broadcast. And Mina Kimes is somebody. She's a fan. She's a sports fan. She's an NFL fan, but she's also one of the most level-headed voices in sports. Well, she chimed in on the Cleveland Browns after the New York Times report dropped earlier this week that included some new details in the Deshaun Watson case, including the fact that Deshaun Watson met with 66 different women over the course of 17 months, not the roughly 40 over 5 years that he claimed. Also unveiled that the Houston Texans provided him with a membership at the Houstonian Hotel in Houston so that he had a special secret place to go. Why? So that his girlfriend didn't know that he was getting rub downs from Instagram hotties, and provided him with an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, to have these women sign so that he could continue to get massages from random Instagram hotties. Mina, after that New York Times report dropped, vocalized what I tried to vocalize not as efficiently yesterday.
First, I'll say I consider this to be a major, major story. You laid out a lot of the important developments in Jenny Vrentas' tremendous reporting, but I'll add another one. At this point, she has now spoken with multiple women who shared similar stories of these awful encounters with Deshaun Watson and did not sue. That is important because, as you know, so often with stories like this, people's first instinct is to question the motives of accusers, to bend over backwards trying to justify unjustifiable behavior, to hatch galaxy brain conspiracy theories instead of simply reading an article and then ultimately to willfully forget. Tony, that is, of course, what the Browns bet on when they gave Deshaun Watson $230 million, that not just their fans, but the media, the NFL, people in and around this league, that we would all move on and forget. But they failed to account for something, or someone in this case, which is that Jenny Vrentas would do what they refused to do, what they lied about doing, which is actually investigate Watson's claims. And as a result, I think the NFL has to go harder on their suspension, and I think the Browns will face the consequences of their arrogant behavior.
So Mina says a couple of things there. And the first one, like I said, is something I tried to vocalize yesterday, and I may not have done a great job of it, I recognize now. Mina says the Browns are about to be humiliated. And I think that is accurate, and here's why. The Cleveland Browns came out and said, we did our due diligence, right? We dug in, we did our research, and after doing our research, we feel confident, we trust, we believe in Deshaun Watson. And I think a lot of us kind of went, all right, right? Like, all right, we'll see how it plays out. But then a New York Times reporter decided to dig in. And I want to say this. New York Times reporters, they've got resources, right? Like the New York Times pays to make sure that the reporters that are covering stories like this have some resources to track down information to put in their story. But the New York Times, I doubt, is going to throw the same resources behind the young woman who did this report as Jimmy and Dee Haslam, billionaires, have at their disposal, right? They could have put $10 million into researching this story, and it'd hardly been a dent in their wealth, right? To figure out, all right, is it worth it? And either they, A, didn't do that, in which case they didn't do their due diligence, or B, they did do that and they did not find this information, which means that they're inefficient and not a great owner that I would trust with my franchise, or C, they found this information and then just decided to sit on it because he throws a football and runs fast, right? Those are, to me, and if anybody has any other options, have at. I'm down to hear them. Are there other options I'm missing here? It feels to me like there are three options. They either didn't do the research and lied about it. They did do the research and did not find out what this New York Times article reported, in which case they are bad at their jobs. Or C, they did the research, they did find out this information, and then they decided to sit on it, which is not a great look. I don't see any way to positively spin this for the Browns. Now, the National Football League, I do have one question that I do not know that we will get an answer for, though I hope that we do. And that is, did the NFL know any of this, right? Because my question's going to be, if I'm Roger Goodell, which I'm not, because I would do a better job. But if I'm Roger Goodell and I find out this information, I 100% am going to go to Jimmy and Dee Haslam, go to the Cleveland Browns and go, hey, did you know this? And if you did not know this, why not? Right? And again, I would hope the NFL did their research as well. I would hope the NFL goes out there and puts all this information together as well. But I think Mina's got a point, right? Because the Browns went out of their way to structure their 5-year deal with Deshaun Watson in a way that my guy was going to effectively get off the hook this year if he gets suspended for another year and lose one out of nearly $250 million, right? $250 million is his contract. I think Mina's got a point. And I gotta suspect that while the NFL has been, frankly, wildly inconsistent with their discipline in situations like this, I've got to assume that they have to recognize you have not seen a case like this so far. You have not seen a case like this so far, right? So we've talked about precedent with claims like this, with guys like Ben Roethlisberger. But this is, 24 times larger than that. So will the NFL go 24 times more harsh with the punishment, right? The second thing is, as we mentioned, it became pretty obvious when Deshaun's contract was announced. I said it the day it happened. This contract is willful manipulation of the numbers by the Browns. And again, in that case, an unprecedented situation. But this is willful manipulation of the numbers by the Browns to effectively allow Deshaun to escape punishment, right? Because while sitting out a year is a punishment, let's call it what it is. It is not the sitting out 6 or 8 or 12 or 17 games that is the punishment for an NFL player. It is the missed game checks because of it that is the punishment, right? They're not being punished by saying, oh, you can't play football. You're being punished, you can't make money playing football. You can't get that game check playing football. And that is what the punishment is. So the Browns manipulated the contract, manipulated the numbers in order to allow him off the hook. You got to wonder if Roger Goodell and the NFL take that as a bit of a slight. But Mina says, look, here's the deal. One New York Times reporter was able to dig up this information. And by the way, go on the record with not just the information, but the data, the evidence to back it up. One New York Times reporter did that, not the entire Cleveland Browns organization. And so far, that we're aware of, not the NFL itself, although the NFL does not have as much of a reason to put what they know out in public, right? Because all those meetings with Deshaun in the disciplinary process are, for the most part, off the record. It's interesting to me. Texter says, fan, I mean, honestly, though, who really cares? Dude got suspended for a year, comes back next year. Brown scored a sick QB. I definitely don't care. I want him on my team. I don't. It's gross, right? If it's a miscommunication and a bad experience, that's one thing. 66 different Instagram masseuses over 17 months with a chunk of them going on the record saying that he did these things? Nah, I don't need that baggage, dude. Not a good look. As a Saints fan, I was dreading we were going to end up with Deshaun Watson. Dreading it. Let's take a break. Come back in a minute. Last segment of the week, maybe, about the Live Tour, because as Keegan just described it, it is now a professional wrestling style circus. I'll tell you what I mean when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Ouch.
You good over there, pal?
Yeah. Oh, can use this too. It clips to that thing that I gave you, the lanyard.
Oh, sweet. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, I emailed Mark back, by the way. He asked us if there was anything weird with Wide Orbit.
You let him know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
seen any empty cards.
We got two things playing.
Do what?
We got two things playing.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me. That's what it's been doing.
Yeah.
On Wide Orbit 1. I said something to him about it yesterday, and Chris said something in technology language.
In technology language.
WO1 as yesterday. This happened to us twice already.
Yep. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. The PGA Tour versus the Live Tour. Spectacular stuff going on right now. I mean, even if you're not a golf fan, this is entertaining at this point. So I've been keeping you up to date with the direction that this has been going, right? Keeping you up to date with the guys that have been jumping board, the guys that have been moving over, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, look, it's that weird balance between sports, politics, and humanity. Because there are plenty of people, myself included, who believe like the Live Tour is an effort to try to whitewash, or I guess the term they're using on the internet now is sports wash, the history of the people that are funding this tour. You know, the murders. Common theme going on the show for some reason today. Anyway, it's an effort to try to sports wash the history of the Saudis that are funding this tour. And it's frankly readily transparent that is happening. But it's a lot more than that too, right? Like the human side of it. I said on the show on Tuesday, there's a part of me that understands the crisis of conscience taking place for these guys, right? If you're Phil Mickelson, a guy that in an unauthorized biography about him that came out or is coming out, I don't know if it dropped yet or not, but an unauthorized biography that says that Phil Mickelson lost $40 million gambling in like a month or something stupid, right?
40 million?
Yeah, it was some ridiculous number.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was some ridiculous. In fact, I'll look it up just because I want to make sure I have the facts. Phil Mickelson. All right, here we go. This is from Sports Illustrated. Phil Mickelson had gambling losses of $40 million from 2010 to 2014. 4-year period. So my guy was losing $10 million a year.
Is that common with sports stars?
I can't imagine, right? Like, I'm sure there are guys that have lost $40 million in like different investments.
Well,
and
I mean,
whatnot.
like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan lost a lot of money too. That's why I was asking. But.
40 mil seems like a lot even for MJ, right? That is that is the equivalent of losing. I'm bad at math. Like 27 grand a day, right? Pick any random sporting event, any given day, and then bet 27 grand on it every day for 4 years and lose all of them, right? That's 40 mil, my man. That doesn't include the bets that he won and got some back, right? So you know my guy had to be putting hundreds of millions of dollars on the line.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Anyway, for a guy who lost 40 mil over 4 years, a paycheck of 200 mil to show up, bangarang, right? Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, all these guys are getting between $100 and $200 million just to show up. They could go out there and place last in every tournament. They still got $100 to $200 million. Dead last. Last place in these tours pays like $120,000. I could go out there, get last in this tour, and make a lot of my year's salary in one tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, and they get $100 to $200 million on top. That's a ridiculous number. So I get that aspect of it. And then, of course, there's the golf angle of it. The PGA versus the LIV Tour. Well, the PGA Tour is done. They are done playing now. They are done playing now. Jay Monahan, commissioner of the PGA Tour, put out this. I'll read you through real quick the statement that came out. PGA Tour members, I wish to provide you with an update and share information regarding the current and former PGA Tour players who are participating in the Saudi Golf League's event in London today. Thank you for your trust, patience, and loyalty. We have followed the tournament regulations from start to finish and responding to those players who have decided to turn their backs on the PGA Tour by willfully violating a regulation. Simultaneous to you receiving this memo, the players are being notified that they are suspended or otherwise no longer eligible to participate in PGA tournament play, including the President's Cup. Bummer. The statement doesn't say bummer. I said bummer. This also applies to all tours sanctioned by the PGA Tour, the Korn Ferry Tour, PGA Tour Champions, PGA Tour Canada, and PGA Tour Latino America. As you know, players listed below did not receive the necessary conflicting event and media rights releases or did not apply for releases at all, and their participation in the Saudi Golf League LIV Golf event is in violation of our tournament regulations. The same fate holds true for any other players who participate with the Saudi Golf League events in violation of our regulation. The statement goes on to say that players who have resigned their memberships will be straight up removed from the FedEx Cup points list when the statistics are posted starting Sunday. These players will not be permitted to play in PGA Tour Champion tournaments as non-member via a sponsor exemption or any other eligible category. And for those that have not yet resigned, they, quote, we will ensure they will not negatively impact your tournament eligibility, your position in the priority rankings, or your eligibility to compete in the FedEx Cup playoffs. We will update you as we work through this process. Then it goes on to say, what's next? Can these players come back? Can they eventually play PGA Tour Champions? Trust that we're prepared to deal with those questions, and we'll approach them in the same way we have this entire process, by being transparent and respecting PGA Tour regulations that you helped to establish. These players, here's my favorite part. These players have made their choice for their own financial-based reasons, but they can't demand the same PGA Tour member benefits, considerations, opportunities, and platform as you. That expectation disrespects you, our fans and partners. You have made a different choice, which is to abide by tournament regulations you agreed to when you accomplished the dream of earning a PGA Tour card and, more importantly, to compete as part of the preeminent organization in the world of professional golf. I am certain our fans and partners who are surely tired of all this talk of money, and more money will continue to be entertained and compelled by the world-class competition you display each and every week, where there are true consequences for every shot you take and your rightful place in history when you reach that elusive winner's circle, end quote. The names at the bottom of that sheet that we talked about: Sergio Garcia, Taylor Gooch, Brendan Grace, Dustin Johnson, Matt Jones, Martin Keimer, Graham McDowell, Phil Mickelson, Kevin Na, Andy Ogletree, Louis Oosthuizen, Turk Petit, Ian Poulter, Charles Schwartzel, Hudson Swafford, Peter Uihlein, and Lee Westwood. Now, again, it's really, really simple, right? It's really simple. The players who jumped to the Live Tour did so because they got a lot of money to do it. And at the end of the day, that money was more important to them than any other decision they made. And again, I'll go ahead and tell you, while I am absolutely anti the Saudis, if I got a check for $200 million to call their golf tournament, I would have to have a serious debate with myself about accepting it. Because on one hand, I don't want your blood money. But on the other hand, $200 million, my mom never works another day. She never worries about money again.
A lot of people in your family, probably, yeah.
Mom's never working again, and she's getting a bigger house. Little brother's student loans are paid off. He's getting a bigger house. My nephew's college is paid for. He's 4, right?
I just want a Lamborghini.
T2's getting a Lambo, right? We're going bananas around here for a little while. But the point here is that it's all about money. It's all about money. Follow the money. And I, again, what did I say? I don't even judge those guys because I get it, right? Life-changing amount of money. But the PGA Tour is doing the same thing. The tour is now missing names like DJ, Martin Keimer, Graham McDowell, Phil Mickelson, Kevin Na, Andy Ogletree, Louis Oosthuizen, Ian Poulter, Charles Schwartzel, Lee Westwood. These are all tournament winners. These are all guys that can win. There's 8 guys that make the tournament better off the roster now. That's big for them. That's money, potential sponsor money down the toilet. Well, Live Golf put out a statement too. Quote, today's announcement by the PGA Tour is vindictive and it deepens the divide between the tour and its members. It's troubling that the tour, an organization dedicated to creating opportunities for golfers to play the game, is the entity blocking golfers from playing. This certainly is not the last word on this topic. The era of free agency is beginning as we are proud to have a full field of players joining us in London and beyond. Y'all, as Keegan said a minute ago, we have reached AEW v WWE levels of heat in golf. Texas says, isn't this the reason wrestlers go to Crown Jewel every year? Yes. It's also the reason I don't watch it. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
All right, I think that's it. I think that's timed out, right?
Hit the restroom, stream, be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, we back. Let's say, is there something in there now to be the competition fueling that level of gambling on top of playing professional sports? I'm sure it is, right? Like, if you're an athlete and uber competitive, gambling's easy to do, right? And it doesn't take, it's like, it doesn't take the toll on your body. Like, I'm not saying that going and play recreational golf for a guy like Phil wears down on your body, but it does, especially when, I mean, Phil's 50, right? Like, it's going to wear down on you. That's something you can do on your couch is gamble and compete with other people about what you're winning and losing. My co-host on my nationally syndicated show on Saturdays, Bet for the Cycle, from 1 to 5 Eastern, Cody and I make bets against each other on the air all the time, right? And it's just, it's the competitive juices. It's just fun. So I have no doubt that that's got something to do with it for some of the guys that are involved in it. The other aspect of it is, let's see, Phil Mickelson net worth. I bet it's not as high as it used to be, or at least what it could be. Phil Mickelson's net worth is $400 million. $400 million. So $40 million, I'm bad at math, but $400 million is what, 10% of his net worth, right? Like that's a lot of money to us, but it's not ridiculous. However, Phil did lose some of his sponsors after his comments back in February, whenever they were. But, you know, $40 million for Phil. Phil's going to make that off of 3 sponsors in the same amount of time. So for him, he's just taking his endorsement money and putting it into gambling. I take my endorsement money here at the station. I put it into vacations, right? He takes it and he gambles with it.
Oh, it was perfect. Sports radio.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. How do you do, South Carolina? What up, America? Hello, world. Great to be with you once again. I am Rob Brown, the illustrious T2 Timinator, Tim Snow, on the other side of the glass, both literally and metaphorically today. Glad to have you all along on the ride with us. This golf thing. By the way, real quick, I'm going to run through some stories here since we are getting towards the end of the show. I'm going to grab a couple of clips here, if you don't mind, T2. Let me start with clip number, let's go 4B first, since we talked about Phil last. I'm not, again, like 2 minutes of golf here. And then I'm getting away from this.
I said earlier, I don't condone human rights violations. I don't know how I can be any more clear. I understand your question, but again, I love this game of golf. I've seen the good that it's done, and I see the opportunity for Live Golf to do a lot of good for the game throughout the world, and I'm excited to be a part of this opportunity.
So there you go. That's Phil saying, I do not condone human rights violations. I've said it. I'll say it again. I don't know how to be more clear about it. If I'm being a smartass, Phil, the answer is don't take lots of money from people who routinely commit human rights violations. But I also don't love but understand what he's saying, right? Because like I said, well, the Saudis have the money. There's nothing I can do about that. If I could snap my fingers and take Saudi money away from those people, I do it. They have the money. And I understand that my participation in this tour, is going to potentially help them get more of it, right? I get that. I understand that. But I also know that for me personally, how much good that money could do, right? For my family, for my friends, I would donate a large chunk of it to charity, et cetera, et cetera. I get what Phil's saying. I don't love it. I also don't love the fact that, again, if they called me and offered me $200 million, that I'd have to go. I'd have to think about it. I'm trying to be honest with you guys, because I know a lot of people are going, man, Liberob the woke warrior over here would take money from people known for their blatant. And the more I've thought about it, the more I lean towards I wouldn't take it. Even a life-changing amount of money, the more I lean towards I wouldn't take it. But I also know when you're in a situation where you can immediately help your family, your community, the people that are immediately next to you. A lot of people are willing to do a lot of stuff they would ordinarily never consider if it can be utilized to help the people they love the most, right? I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it's honest. There's a difference. So I get where they're coming from, even if I don't love where they're coming from, and I get it. Dustin Johnson spoke out as well, and I will go to clip 4A. DJ was asked, you said, Dustin, a couple of months ago, you were fully committed to the PGA Tour and were not going to play on the LIV Tour. What changed? And here's what DJ had to say.
I mean, I think a lot over the past few months, but, at that time I was committed to playing the PGA Tour. I'm very thankful for the PGA Tour and everything that it's done for me. Obviously, you just said I've done pretty well out there for the last 15 years, but this is something that I thought was best for me and my family, and I'm very excited about playing. And obviously, this is the first week, and it's just it's something exciting, it's something new, and I think it's great for the game of golf, and so that's why I'm here.
So there you go. There's DJ. Listen, he said the classic line. It's what's best for me and my family. That's why these guys are going, right? Because at the end of the day, yes, we all want a world that is fair and equal for everybody. We want it. We don't have it, but we want it. We want it. That being said, most of us are going to protect our clan first, our family first, then our neighborhood, then our community, then our state, then our country, then the world. We're tribalistic by nature. We have evolved to be a social but tribal species, right? And if you can get that money to make your family better off, even if you already have tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank, you're going to do it. Or at least a lot of people will. Some people may say that they're going to take the morally superior position and turn it down. And that's fine. Like I said, I am leaning towards going that direction. But I don't know. Again, it is much easier to say that you would not take money when the money's not real to take or not to take, right? I can sit here and have the debate about whether or not I'd take $200 million, but I'm 37 years old and ain't nobody presented me a check with $1 million on it yet. Forget 200.
How many times have you taken money from a client you don't like?
Plenty.
Yeah,
Plenty.
I've said that a million times. I don't really like this guy, but I'll take his money.
I will tell you this. I'll tell you this. I have since I've been here, I've turned down 3 endorsements, 3 or 4. I've turned away. And again, when I turn down an endorsement, it's not $200 million, but I'm talking to the tune of thousands of dollars, up to thousands of dollars a year potentially. I've turned a few down because of whatever reason.
I've turned down gigs and stuff before too. So
I've turned money away because either A, I did not support or believe in the product or the message, right? Or the stance it would have required me to take would have gone directly against a belief or beliefs that I have. I get it. Or I just didn't like the product, right?
Right.
Like I just didn't like the product. I had one food place once come at us with an endorsement opportunity, and I try their food, and I was like, nope, I'm not putting my name on this, right? Because while the money would be nice, I'm not going to have people go there and go, Rob sent me. Oh, God, this was gross. I don't trust Rob anymore, right?
Right, but if your back's against the wall and you need that check,
Right, that's it. I've
you
also...
know, you would probably wind up taking the
Right.
gig.
I've also, since I moved here, not been homeless or on the brink of it. I've
Right.
not been, oh, God, I can't afford groceries this week, right? Because then it might be a different story. Like, yeah, I don't love that I'm sending people to this whatever bar, restaurant I don't love, but their paycheck bought me dinner, and otherwise I'd have been hungry last. I'm not in that situation, right? So I don't know. Maybe it's a different story. I'll tell you right now, if somebody offered me $200 million, or if the Saudis offered me $200 million and I already had $200 million, I'd turn it down, right? I'm already set. $200 million, I'm set for life.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I can never earn another dollar, and I'm set for life, right?
But if you didn't have that,
Right.
that's a different story.
Right.
And I'm just wondering how many people would turn that down.
Right, because I have
if they didn't have it.
200 extra dollars, not 200 million. That's a different story.
Right.
So that's the point. Texter said, here's a couple of texts that have come in on the Preferred Home Services text line 71307. Texter says, bro, you know how many human rights violations are in our own do you know how many human rights violations our own country commits on a daily basis? I'm taking that money and I'm not even considering it. Again, I get it. This country's not perfect. We're far from it.
Nobody's
lots of mistakes
perfect.
daily. This country makes lots of mistakes that violate civil rights daily. I agree. I don't think it's quite Saudi level of mistakes, but that doesn't excuse them, right? Two wrongs don't make a right. We all know the old phrase. So I don't know. Texter said Tiger turned them down, though. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And Tiger, by the way, was going to make about 3 times the money Phil Mickelson took. Remember, we told you earlier this week, Tiger turned down nearly $1 billion, right? Upper 9 digits. Nearly $1 billion to be on this tour. Because Tiger plays on this tour, we're not asking the question, is it viable anymore? We're not asking the question, can the Live Tour succeed? They can. They got Tiger. They got Tiger. Right? So, I don't know. But again, Tiger's already a billionaire. Granted, it would have, let's see, what's Tiger's total net worth now? Tiger Woods' net worth. And again, I looked these up. Tiger has, according to Forbes, Tiger has about $1.7 billion, right? Adding another bill to that nearly doubles Tiger's net worth. But there comes a point in time where you go, how much money do you need, right? Like, can you spend $1 billion? Can you spend $1 billion? You know what you get for $1 billion? An NBA team. That's what you get for $1 billion. And then you know what happens when you have an NBA team? It makes you money for the rest of your life. NFL team costs $4.65 billion. He takes that money. He's halfway home to buying an NFL team. That's the richest team ever bought, by the way, the Denver Broncos. So I don't know. Texter says, the world will never be fair and equal, Liberob. Get that money when you can. No, I get it. Realistically, the world will never be equal and fair across the board. I agree with you entirely. Doesn't mean that some people are going to stop trying, right? Doesn't mean some people aren't going to stop taking actions to effort as if it can. Texter says, gotta take the money. There's lots of companies that we work for every day here in America that do just as much ethical violations. I don't know. I don't think I have ever worked for a company that has murdered people or thrown people off of rooftops for being gay, right? I'm sure I've probably worked for people in the past that would be happy to take the rights away from gay people, but never murdered them. I don't know. But maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I'm not saying you're not right. Texter says that's why the rich always get richer, because if Tiger was a true businessman, he takes that money. Does Warren Buffett turn that down? Obviously not. Again, I don't know. I don't know is the answer. I have said for years, I think to be a billionaire, you've got to be a sociopath. I think it's a requirement, right? Because you've got to be willing to hurt people. You've got to be willing to take from people. You have got to be willing to put people in a less fortunate, less advantageous position down in order to get enough money to be a billionaire. It's not an option, right? Now, you can come back later and say, hey, I'm going to use the money that I got for good, but at the end of the day, you still did that thing, right? So I don't know. All right, we'll get away from this a little bit. I didn't intend to spend the whole segment nor this much of the show on it. But it's interesting, right? If I would have told you that a new league was going to pop up and there were going to be extreme levels of vitriol and constant aggressive stances taken between the new league and the old one, I don't know that golf would have been the sport I expected it to happen in. But here we are. Live Tournament v PGA Tour. Somebody suggested on Twitter earlier, they're like, what if we get rid of the President's Cup or the Ryder Cup and we start a Live Tour versus PGA Tour tournament? It won't happen. The PGA Tour is going to do everything the PGA can do to hurt the Live Tour and vice versa. They're not going to help each other. That's probably the one spot. I mean, look, that would make a ridiculous amount of money for both leagues, right? But at the end of the day, the PGA Tour is going, as much money as that would make, you're going to end up costing us just by existing. We're not lying down for this. The NFL doesn't threaten the USFL. Why? Because the USFL doesn't threaten the dollar bills of the NFL. Nobody has said, I'm going to stop being an NFL fan and be a USFL fan. There are some of us that watch both. I will acknowledge I don't watch nearly as much USFL as I did early in the season, mainly and predominantly not because it's not good football. It's pretty good football. But because you guys aren't watching it, so there's no point in me watching it. None at all. There's no point in me watching it. But it is what it is. They don't threaten the NFL, so the NFL has no reason to go. If the NFL treated USFL the way that PGA is treating Live Tour, USFL would have stopped existing the day after they announced it started. If a pop-up video or a basketball league threatened the NBA would squash it in a heartbeat. The Live Tour actually does threaten the PGA Tour, unlike any basketball league has ever threatened the NBA, unlike any football league could ever threaten the NFL. That's all it comes down to. It's the dollar bills, y'all. Let's take a break. Come back after this. I'm Rob. He's T2. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Tell you about your friends, my friends, our friends at Harley Davidson of Greenville. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been All right, we're back stream. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us every day, man. It's awesome. And again, if you get the chance and you know somebody you think would like the show, feel free to share it around, man. I get
Like,
measured
share,
by
subscribe.
metrics and nothing else.
Like, share, and subscribe, man. Smash that like button. Or my favorite, smash the like challenge.
All right, guys, we're at 1,000 likes. Let's see if we can get to 1,200 by the end of the stream. Go ahead and smash that like button, share it around on social media.
Yeah, man.
Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell so you get notified for our most recent videos.
Sounds like you've been doing it a lot. Or at least
No,
watching
I
a lot
watch
of videos.
I watch a lot of sports streamers on YouTube, right? Because I like to know what everybody's talking about and what's hitting and whatnot.
Yeah, I watch a lot of nerd stuff and
Yep. Everybody says it to start their video.
skate videos, everything, yeah. All right, 17 seconds.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the fan upstate. My man Brandon popping into the stream, throwing up the chops. 7 in a row for the Bravos. How about the Atlanta Braves? Starting to find the bats a little bit. Bats waking up just a touch. Matt Olson, what's he working on? 13 RBIs in the last 7? All of the sudden, the Atlanta Braves at one point were about 11 and a half games back of the New York Mets in the NL East 2 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago, I said the Bravos are in trouble, right? The Braves are in trouble. The bats are asleep. The pitching's no bueno. It was not a great look for Atlanta. And then the Braves rattle off 7 consecutive. They are 8-2 in their last 10. In that same stretch, they have climbed not just above 500, but are now 3 games above 500. At one point, the Braves had a losing record both at home and on the road. Now they have a winning record both at home and on the road. 30 games at home, they are 16-14. On the road, 27 games played, 14-13, including a sweep of the Rockies involving 2 extra inning games that the Braves threw the ice tray down, shivered, and played stone cold to get the dub. Ronald Acuna Jr. is back and playing baseball like Braves fans hoped that he would. And now that 11 and a half games back that the Braves were a couple of weeks ago has now been cut down to 7. Good baseball. The pitching staff has started to wake up. The bats are good. And by the way, the bats are good. Olson's hitting the ball well. Acuna's hitting the ball well. Ozzie Albies has been hitting the ball relatively well all year long. They still have a couple of guys that can start adding bats back. Austin Riley's woken up a little bit. Marcell Ozuna is not all the way there yet. Got moved. I think he was batting in the 9 hole a couple of times the last few games. But if his bat wakes up, the Bravos could make a run here. Again, a lot of baseball left to play. This is the hottest Atlanta has been all year. They will cool off at some point. The Mets were very hot early. They have slowed up a little bit. They did go over to LA and take a couple from the Dodgers. But their bats have slowed down a little bit. 11 and a half cut down to 7. What's the old phrase? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? You got to make up 7 games. You have played 57. There are, 120-ish games left to be played. You got to make up 7 over $120. You're in good shape, man. You're in good shape. All of the sudden, Atlanta looks like the team that we expected them to. Brandon says getting Eddie Rosario back in a few weeks, too. That is correct. Oscar Inoa, who, by the way, got sent down to the minors because his control wasn't there. He went out for, I think, Gwinnett and threw 7 scoreless in a one-hitter a day or two ago, finding his stuff. Good chance he gets called back up. And remember, Inoa can be a two-way player, too. He had a hot streak with the bat last year. That guy could step in there and make some noise if you need him to, right? Braves suddenly look like a threat. Again, a lot of baseball left. This is the hottest they've been. I don't expect this hot streak to go 120 games. But if you can close that gap to New York, who is playing well. Oh, and by the way, New York's got some injuries, right? Pete Alonso's had to sit a couple of games. Lindor's had to sit a couple of games. If the Mets, I don't need the Mets to start losing. If the Mets just slow down a little bit and the Braves keep doing what they're doing, 8-2 in the last 10, maybe they got a shot at this thing. I thought the Dodgers might be the best team in baseball history, right? And again, don't listen to this and think that the Dodgers aren't good. They're still exceptionally good, right? The Dodgers are still really good. They are 36-20. But the Yankees are 40-16. The Blue Jays have won 33. The Rays have won 33. The Sox have won 30, but they're also 8-2 in their last 10. The Twins have won 33. The Astros have won 36. The Mets have more wins than the Dodgers. The Braves have 6 wins fewer than the Dodgers. The Brewers have 3 wins fewer than the Dodgers. The Cardinals have 4 fewer wins than the Dodgers. The Padres have 1 less win than the Dodgers without Fernando Tatis Jr. in the lineup so far this season. The Dodgers, theoretically, should have the best baseball team in history. They do have the best offensive lineup statistically that has ever been assembled in Major League Baseball. But the NL could be wide open, right? Could be wide open. The Braves are 30-27, but they're 8-2 in their last 10. The hot streak is alive. They have still got the opportunity to get Inoa back and add some rotation. Stephen Webb just came back from Arizona, who pitched well for the Braves before he got to Arizona. Could not crack the rotation there. But it gives you a bullpen arm to stabilize you a little bit. Soroka could be back at some point. Rosario is coming back. And Ronnie Acuna seems to be over the injury issues. My goodness, ladies and gentlemen, the Braves are playing good baseball. Now, what do I need? Before I start throwing up the chop, before I start claiming that the Braves are a genuine threat in the NL, because again, right now, the Mets are better in their division. The Brewers and Cardinals have better records than the Braves. Now, granted, the Brewers and the Cardinals are both playing in the NL Central. That division's not good. The Pirates are in the division. The Cubs are in that division. The Reds, the worst team in baseball, are in that division. And the Brew Crew and Cardinals are both fine teams, but I don't put them up there with the Mets. I don't put them up there with the Dodgers or the Padres. And frankly, I think the Braves should be better than both those teams, but record-wise, they won't be because the NL Central is bad. The Dodgers are better than the Braves. The Padres are better than the Braves. The Giants have the same amount of wins, but 2 fewer losses than the Braves. And don't sleep on the D-backs and a pretty good hitting Rockies team, although they're 3-7, partially because the Braves went to their house and swept them. This is by no means to say that the Braves are, right there in NL contention. There's work to do. I am saying if 2 weeks from now we go, the Bravos are 16-2, right? Or 16-4 in their last 20. Might be time to get some confidence back in the A-Town. We'll see. We'll see. Let me grab some clips here, if you don't mind, T2. I'm going to start with clip number 1. Gary Cohen and Keith Hernandez were calling a game the other day. And, well, let's just say they had an interesting conversation. Clip number 1, if you don't mind, please, T2. Here's Gary Cohen and Keith Hernandez.
Again, the Mets stroking out 8 hits. Yeah,
Did you say stroking out?
Stroking out, yes. It's a baseball stroke.
I think you need to watch your language there. Because, you know, we're getting older, and stroking out is something we don't want to be doing.
What do you say? I'm a creepy old man?
No. I think you're missing the point here.
That's a baseball stroke.
No, but from a medical standpoint, do you know what stroking out means?
You know, my mind goes places where
you don't want to say bleeding out, and you don't want to say stroking out.
Did that just happen?
No, it didn't just happen. It happened 2 nights ago on national television. Let me, So stroking out is a phrase that is traditionally used with very little formality regarding someone who has suffered a stroke. Except for then Keith Hernandez thought they were talking about a very different stroke, and I don't mean golfing, all right? I don't mean golfing. And the best part was that Gary Cohen offered him an out, right? Offered him an out. He's like, no, you know, the medical term. And Keith was like, what are you saying? I'm a creepy old man? Take the out, Keith. Take the out. My man just gave you the out to not reveal to the world that you immediately thought he was talking about self-gratification, self-pleasuring, right? My man said, no, medical term, you know, stroking out, having a stroke. We don't say that on TV. And Keith was like, oh, you thought I was talking about the old one-handed tango, huh? Keith! My guy gave you the out. He put it on the table. All you had to do was turn left, and nobody, I mean, some of us that are messed up in the head would have gone like, all right, Keith, that was a little creepy, but, you know, at least you got out of it, right? You gave up the risky shot, but you glove saved it before it went in the net. Nay, my friend. Keith was like, let me put it out there in the world that I heard the phrase stroking out, and I thought my partner on national television was talking about self-pleasuring himself on national television. The out was right there, Keith. It was right there. It was right there. And instead, you decided to double down on it. Like, no. I need the world to know that I definitely was talking about the old, self-pleasure. Keith.
Why would you continue down that road?
The exit's right there.
Yeah, right there.
And you just 80 mile an hour past the exit.
Do you not have pass go? Do not collect $200. You just kept going.
My goodness. Listen, I have made mistakes on air. I have said things on air that I said and immediately was like, shouldn't have said it that way.
Well, I think we've all done that.
Yeah, shouldn't have said it that way. That was a bad way to phrase it. But you know what you do in that situation? You don't hammer down on it again.
That's not a good time to double down.
Yeah. You don't hammer down the point a second time and go, whoops. Damn, Keith. My man, apparently, Keith Hernandez could not wait to get out of that box and get back to the hotel room. He had business to attend to.
I don't blame him.
Bottom of the 9th, can we call some strikes and get out of here? I got to go stroke out. Jeez, Keith. Take a break. We'll come back, wrap this bad boy up. Rob, T2, and you on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. I make a quick phone call, guys. I shall return in a moment.
I'm Jason Marks with your Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate. In Major League Baseball, Michael Harris's two-run triple in the fifth gave the Atlanta Braves the lead, and they never looked back as they complete the two-game sweep, beating the Oakland A's 13-2. Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, William Contreras, and Adam Duvall each had a home run Wednesday night. The Braves stay at home, running a 7-game winning streak as they begin a 4-game series with the Pittsburgh Pirates. In the NFL, according to the lawyer of 24 women who have filed lawsuits against Deshaun Watson, the Houston Texans organization will be added as a defendant along with the embattled quarterback. According to a Tuesday report by the New York Times, the Texans are accused of providing non-disclosure agreements for the plaintiffs to sign and the hotel room where several of the massages in question took place. The team has not responded to the allegations, but it maintained several statements. They have no knowledge of the conduct until March of last year when the first lawsuit against Watson was filed. Download the Odyssey app and search for the Fan Upstate, and then listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Jason Marks, and that's your Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Now, CBS Sports Radio.
On your radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM, Greenville, 97.1 FM, 950 AM, Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone. Download the Odyssey app and search the Fan Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into the subject.
Your smart speaker. Just play 97 The Fan Upstate.
So,
on your HD radio at WFBC HD3. Just one more thing. And on your
the lady, well, I'll tell the story on the air when we come back. The lady friend just freaked me out and then made me laugh.
From the 1063 WORD Weather Center, here's the Upstate's most trusted forecast on
What was I doing?
Upstate.
Oh.
Skies will become mostly sunny today, high 91. Tonight, mostly clear, low 63. Friday, sunshine, high 85.
Grabbing the Twitter
Saturday,
thing.
Chance for rain showers, blended clouds and sunshine develops, high 85. Sunday, sunshine, high around 90. Meteorologist.
Oh no, can't do that.
Currently, it's 81.
Hey, it's Rob Brown. Listen, I've been around the real estate game for many years. My dad was a real estate agent when I was growing up, and he taught me a lot of rules of real estate. One of them that I have seen broken because sometimes people just do not have the best information available is when you're going to sell your home, you want to sell it for the most money possible, obviously. And in order to accomplish that, you need the expertise of an Allen Tate realtor in your corner. In today's low inventory market, homes in good condition attract multiple buyers, and with multiple buyers comes multiple offers, sometimes within days of listing. And when buyers compete, you sell your home for more money. So when you are ready to sell, do not settle for one offer when you can choose your best offer. Choose the Carolinas' #1 real estate company, Allen Tate. Reach out to them now. You can find them online at allentate.com. allentate.com. It's our friends at Allen Tate Realtors.
In the past, the conversation around personal mental health has been virtually non-existent. Fortunately, people everywhere are opening up to the idea that talking about our emotions and experiences isn't something...
Well, it was trending yesterday. It's not trending today.
We still live in a world where finding support can be difficult. We knew there had to be a better way to help people take care of themselves and to take the mystery and stigma out of therapy. That's where BetterHelp began. I'm Danny, co-founder of BetterHelp Online Therapy. Our mission is simple. Find a way to make professional therapy accessible, affordable, and convenient for everyone. With BetterHelp, you can connect to a therapist by phone, video call, or even text message. You can contact your therapist when it's convenient for you. And if your therapist isn't the right fit, you can switch anytime. BetterHelp is designed with you in mind. See why over 2 million members have trusted BetterHelp for online therapy. Go to betterhelp.com/youfirst and get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/youfirst.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Have you heard about HIMS? Apparently they take the awkwardness out of treating ED, and the process is really straightforward.
HIMS? Yeah, my buddy gets his ED meds through them. Said their online process is much simpler than going to a doctor's office.
Oh yeah, their entire process is only a few steps, and they only ship ED meds from certified pharmacies in the U.S. that are 100% FDA approved. All you got to do is go to 4hims.com/radio. You just answer a few questions, select your treatment preferences, and fill out some health information. Then a healthcare provider reviews the info and determines which medication, if any, is right for you. If it's prescribed, it ships free right to your door. Think cheaper than Viagra and has the same active ingredient. I can finally satisfy my partner.
For a free online consultation, go to forhims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio.
This feature is sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer. You've heard the latest news, traffic, and weather, but there's something else you should hear. Consider getting a COVID-19 booster.
Be fine now.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-828-5242 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-828-5242. That's 800-828-5242. What do you have to lose? Call 800-828-5242. Again, 800-828-5242. In the wee hours of the night, when everyone else is fast asleep, you're the one on third shift, burning the midnight oil. When a part fails and everything comes to a grinding halt, regardless of what the clock on the wall says, you leap into action. Granger is with you, and all the ones who get it done, with 24/7 customer support by phone or click to chat. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. All right, coming back.
Listen on the Odyssey app. Search the Fan Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. Perfect timing. Absolutely fine the entire break and then have a coughing fit when we come back on air. Radio. I got a text from the lady friend during the break. Well, before we went to break, like 2 minutes before we went to break, I got a text from her. She's on the road. She went over to Pawleys Island for work and is on the way back right now. So she texted me like 2 minutes out from the last break. And she just said, babe, ... which is never good, right? There's only two reasons that you get a text that says, babe, ...
Right.
It either means A, you screwed up. She's about to let you know, but she's like trying to be nice about it. Like,
or there's bad news.
or something bad happened because you're buttering me up with that. Otherwise,
Right.
you'd be like, Rob, right? But you're buttering me up, so something bad. And I'm like, oh God, what?
Or you're about to ask me for something that I don't want to pay for.
Correct. And no, because she's the breadwinner in our relationship. That's not even a question. But yeah, so for me, it's one of the first two, babe, ... And I'm like, oh no. So I get us out to break, and I step out in the hallway and I call her because it just says babe, ... And then for like 3 minutes, nothing comes through. And I'm like, oh no. Like somebody hit her or the car broke down. She got flat. She's an hour out.
And you're sitting there just like all these scenarios running through your head. Yeah.
Like I got 20 more minutes of work and she's an hour away if she's like stuck on the side of the road. So we get to the break and I call her. And I'm like, is everything okay? She's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, well, what? You know, I'm like sitting here having a minor anxiety attack. And she goes, I found Buc-ee's.
Oh,
you gotta be kidding me.
Isn't that the gas station?
It's not a gas station.
It's like a store.
It's not a gas station, but it's not a store. It's like a hybrid of the two, but it's massive. And if I don't know how to describe it. Like it's
I drove by one day.
It's ridiculous. So it's like
I was in North Carolina.
it's like the nicest Dollar General meets the nicest gas station meets the nicest Walmart you've ever met, like all merged together into one. It's absolutely ridiculous, is what it is. But it's kind of intriguing because you've never seen a gas station. Like, it's the only gas station that gets talked about, right? Like, I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, she's like, I found Buc-ee's. I'm like, so you sent me a text that said, babe, ... Waited 3 minutes. She's like, oh yeah, sorry, my text didn't come through. Like, she's like, no, I texted you, babe, ... I found Buc-ee's. She's like, but the second one didn't go through. Now she's texting me stuff like, tea towels that say we go together like tequila and bad decisions. And I'm like, you need to leave now. You need to leave Buc-ee's right now.
See, my wife's like that, but she's like that with Five Below. She'll go to Five Below and just be like, look, honey, we can use this.
Yeah, but this is a gas station.
Yeah, that's
Unreal.
true.
All right. Game 3 last night, NBA Finals. Everything I said about the Warriors was wrong. Everything I said about the Warriors was wrong. Give me clip number. Did I put it in there? I may not have put it in there. I guess I forgot to put it in there. All right, never mind. Forget it. Forgot that one. A reporter asked Draymond Green, hey, man, do you think maybe you gave away too much in the podcast, right? Do you think maybe you gave too much away in the podcast? Did you give away the X's and O's in the podcast? And Draymond said, I mean, all I talked about was being aggressive. If that's the X's and O's, I don't know what to tell you. I think you're making a big reach there. And I got to thinking about it because, no, I don't think Draymond gave away the game plan in his podcast, right? Which, by the way, is wildly popular. And when he gets out of the league, is going to make him every bit the money that he gets being in it. Podcasting's just the way to go now. I don't think he gave away the game plan via podcast. What I do think happened is that Draymond, in talking about how he was going to be more physical, in talking about how he was going to dominate Beantown, in talking about how he was going to be aggressive and to attack on defense and to try to get into the heads of Boston and try to make them uncomfortable, I think he tipped his hand a little bit, right? Like, I think he showed his hand a little bit. I think he showed maybe not the X's and O's, maybe not the exact game plan, but I think he told them what he wanted to do. I think he said, this is the play style that you can assume I'm going to get into. I think he said, this is what we're going to do. Even if it's not the X's and O's, it's the attitude, the mentality we're going to bring. And in saying that, in saying we are going to be aggressive, we are going to push, we are going to attack, you allowed Boston to have a day and a half to prepare for that, right? All right, these are the sets we're going to go into if they go full court, half court, if they go man but hard man press. These are the situations we're going to get into. These are the tactics we're going to take, and they were ready for it. And that's why Draymond Green, the dub who got the most discussion over the past day and a half, ended up with a stat line of 1 for 4 from the floor, 0 for 2 from the arc, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 points, and a -13 on the plus and minus number. That is really bad. That's really, for a starter, that's really bad. For Draymond, that's really bad, right? But I think, here's the deal. If I walk up to T2 and go, in 30 seconds, I'm going to punch you in the face and tell him what I'm going to do, Tim Snow's got 30 seconds to figure out a way to kick my ass before it happens, right? Like, he's got 30 seconds to prepare. Draymond gave the C's a day and a half notice to go, all right, guys, here's the deal. Don't react. Don't react. Draymond is going to be a jackass on the floor. Don't react. Not only did Boston not react to that, instead, they played right the other direction from it. 26 for Tatum, 24 for Smart, 27 for Brown. Smart said, if you're going to be aggressive, I'll let it happen. And he did. And he ended up with his best stat line of the series, and I believe the postseason so far. Draymond, I love your podcast, dog. That's not sure. I haven't listened to a minute of it. I just hear sound bites from it. I'm glad you're podcasting, but maybe chill.
Presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, so that's time for your Twitter trending topics. Coming in at number 1 that I can say is hashtag PB pitch.
That I can say. Like pronounce or allowed to say it on the air?
Allowed, because a lot of these are political. So
I saw this happening
I mean, I guess I
before.
could say them, but
Yeah, no. I saw this happening earlier in the day. It popped up a couple times. PB pitch. I don't know what it stands for, but it's basically people.
Picture book.
I got you. Okay. It is basically people pitching like either picture books or coloring books that they would want to see made. You know, there are days that Twitter is amazing, and then there's days where I'm like, can we not? Can we not? And this is one of them. All right, what else we got trending today there, T2?
we got PGA Tour.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the show. If you missed it, go grab the podcast off the website at thefanupstate.com. I'll have those 3 hours posted later on today. Go grab it. The PGA Tour issues their official first statement saying that every PGA Tour member who is playing on the LIV Tour is either off the tour, resigned, or they are suspended from the tour. They got asked, how are you going to handle when these players, if these players want to come back? And the PGA Tour says, we have ideas, but we'll burn that bridge when we get there. The LIV Tour then responded and said that this is contentious, said it was unnecessary, said that it was an obstacle to the game of golf. The PGA Tour does not give a boat about their response. Drama, baby. Drama.
Next one is hashtag Thursday Vibes, bro.
Thursday vibes, bro. Thursday vibes, bro. The only Thursday vibe is I can't wait to have Friday vibes tomorrow, right? Now, I will tell you this. Thursday is my one night off this week, right? I say night off, in fairness. Last night was a work night for me, but a work night for me was watching the NBA Finals Game 3. That was my work night. That was it. Tonight's my one night off because tomorrow I've got a Brad Paisley concert. Saturday, I've got a Greenville Liberty game that I will be on the call for again. Sunday is family day with the lady friend. Not that that is work, but, you know, you got to put on the face when you go meet the lady friend's family. So tonight's my one night. I will be on the couch in boxers with a bourbon. Don't FaceTime me. That's it. That's my Thursday vibe. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us. T2, nice job today, buddy. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
For you guys listening, for you guys watching on the stream, we appreciate you doing it. Couldn't do this job if you guys didn't, you know, listen and watch and hang out. So we appreciate it because of paychecks. See you tomorrow. Jim Rome's got you up next in the jungle. Mark Ryan and Diesel take you offsides after that. I'm Rob Brown. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Stream, thank you very much. We'll